Picture this, the alarm sounds, you shuffle into the kitchen, and steam curls from the mug you've poured 1,000 times before. What if I told you that in the next 10 minutes, you'll learn how to transform that ordinary cup into a clinical-grade catalyst for sharper focus, steadier energy, and the kind of quiet confidence that makes people wonder what changed? I'm Dr. Samra Tarajlic, a urologist and an integrative medicine specialist. And today I'm handing you 3 evidence-backed 1 teaspoon upgrades that can recalibrate cortisol, reignite testosterone signaling, and flip your metabolic switch from storage to burn, all before you've put on your shoes. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which botanical your body is quietly begging for, and how 1 intentional sip each morning can set the tone for every decision, every meeting, and every workout that follows. To appreciate why such a small dose can matter, let's examine what is actually happening inside the male body the moment you swing your feet over the edge of the bed. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, peaks within the first 30 to 45 minutes after waking. That spike is evolution's way of ensuring you have the alertness to leave the cave before the saber-toothed tiger shows up. Under ideal circumstances, cortisol then drifts down by late morning, making room for testosterone, thyroid hormone, and growth hormone to handle the day's repair work, muscle maintenance, and metabolic regulation. Modern life rarely supplies those ideal circumstances. Irregular sleep, late-night screen exposure, nighttime alcohol, or a chronic influx of work emails can keep cortisol uncomfortably high. Elevated cortisol does 2 things every man over 50 can feel almost immediately. It steals the biochemical precursors needed for testosterone synthesis, and it sabotages insulin signaling, turning your muscle cells into a locked garage where glucose can't park. That is why you can feel simultaneously wired and exhausted, as if you're revving the engine in neutral while the fuel gauge plummets. Many of us reflexively reach for coffee to bully the brain into clarity. A cup or 2 is harmless, but large doses of caffeine layered on top of already elevated cortisol can amplify anxiety, spike blood pressure, and leave you more depleted when the stimulant finally wears off. A plain black tea is gentler, but by itself, it doesn't supply the hormonal or metabolic nudge that a midlife male physiology genuinely needs. What you really want from your first mug is threefold: gentle regulation of that cortisol surge, a metabolic ignition cue that stabilizes insulin and blood sugar, and a source of clean, sustained energy that does not come with a late morning crash. A single teaspoon of the right phytonutrient-dense powder can accomplish precisely that. Depending on your most pressing concern, diminished libido, relentless stress, or creeping central weight gain, you will choose one of 3 evidence-backed botanicals. Let's walk through them. If you wake up feeling emotionally flat and notice that sexual desire is a faint echo of what it used to be, consider Maca Lipidium mayani, your first ally. Maca grows at altitudes above 4,000 meters in the Peruvian Andes, an environment that bombards plants with ultraviolet radiation and temperature swings severe enough to kill most crops. To survive, Maca concentrates an unusual spectrum of secondary metabolites, alkaloids, macamides, and glucosinolates that function as adaptogens in humans. A 2022 systematic review in Andrologia encompassing 8 randomized controlled trials reported statistically significant improvements in self-reported libido and mild erectile dysfunction after 6 to 12 weeks of daily supplementation. Interestingly, serum testosterone did not always rise dramatically, suggesting Maca acts by modulating the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis, not by forcing exogenous hormones into circulation. Choose gelatinized Maca. The starch has been heat deactivated, improving digestibility, and whisk 1 level teaspoon into any hot beverage. Most men describe the flavor as somewhere between malt and butterscotch. It pairs nicely with English breakfast tea or even a dark roast coffee, if that's non-negotiable. Give it a full 2 weeks before you judge. Libido often returns gradually, then unmistakably. Now, suppose your main complaint is that everything feels louder, faster, and harder to handle. Deadlines, traffic, even minor household frustrations. You sleep, yet never wake restored. That picture points squarely to chronic hypercortisolemia. In that case, reach for Ashwagandha, Withania somnifera, the flagship herb of Ayurvedic medicine. The Sanskrit translation, strength of a horse, is apt, but modern research clarifies how it earns that title. A 2021 meta-analysis in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology reviewed 10 placebo-controlled studies and found that ashwagandha supplementation lowered salivary cortisol by an average of 27%, while simultaneously improving scores on validated anxiety and sleep quality scales. Mechanistically, with analytes in the root-bind to GABA mimetic receptors, calming neural excitability, and downregulate CRH, corticotropin-releasing hormone at the hypothalamus, effectively turning down the body's stress thermostat. The flavor is undeniably earthy and a bit bitter. Blend it into a robust chai, add a slice of ginger or a half teaspoon of raw honey, and the pungency mellows. 1 teaspoon each morning, and within a week, many patients report a noticeable decline in background noise anxiety, clearer decision-making, and a steadier mood curve that lasts well into the evening. Finally, if your trousers have become suspiciously snug around the waist and you experience that classic midday energy sag that has you prowling for sweets, your metabolism is broadcasting insulin resistance. Here, the most elegant fix can be found in true Ceylon cinnamon, Cinnamomum verum. Do not confuse it with the more common cassia cinnamon, which contains higher levels of coumarin, a compound that in large doses can stress the liver. Ceylon cinnamon, on the other hand, has been shown in multiple human trials to increase insulin receptor autophosphorylation and enhance GLUT4 translocation, science speak for your cells open the door for glucose instead of slamming it. A 2020 double-blind study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition demonstrated that just 3 grams daily, right around 1 teaspoon, reduced post-meal blood sugar by up to 27% in adults with prediabetes after 8 weeks. The taste rewards the effort. Cinnamon turns an ordinary black tea or rooibos into something reminiscent of dessert, minus the sugar spike. Expect calmer appetite signals, fewer sugary cravings, and gradual trimming of visceral fat when combined with ordinary daily movement. Some men ask whether they can combine all 3 powders into one super drink. Physiologically, there is no overt contraindication, but from a clinical standpoint, I advocate focus. Pick the powder that addresses your most urgent bottleneck, use it daily for at least 3 weeks, assess the effect, then either stay the course or rotate to the next target. Consistency trumps intensity. A teaspoon you take every single morning compounds, whereas a sporadic tablespoon delivers erratic results. Equally important is the psychology of the ritual itself. When the very first act of your day is deliberate self-care, you send a subconscious memo that your health is a priority. That memo guides the next choice, opting for protein at breakfast instead of a pastry, reserving 10 minutes at lunch for a brisk walk, or shutting down email at a sane hour. Over time, these small, aligned decisions accumulate into measurable changes in body composition, performance, and yes, the unmistakable confidence that tends to catch a partner's eye. So choose your entry point. If stress rules the day, start with ashwagandha. If passion feels muted, start with masa. If blood sugar and weight are the culprits, start with true cinnamon. Commit to 1 teaspoon every morning for 21 consecutive days. Track the data that matter to you: morning energy, waist circumference, number of nocturnal awakenings, or frequency of spontaneous desire. When those metrics shift, and they almost invariably do, resist the temptation to scale up the dose immediately. A roaring fire burns out fast. A steady flame keeps you warm for the long haul. I trust this gives you both the clinical rationale and the practical roadmap. If you found these insights useful, consider subscribing so you never miss new evidence-based strategies for lifelong male vitality. You now have the blueprint: 1 mug, 1 measured teaspoon, and 21 straight mornings of consistency. Whether you choose maca for drive, ashwagandha for resilience, or Ceylon cinnamon for metabolic control, remember that the ritual is as potent as the ingredient. The moment you start the day by investing in your physiology, every other choice tilts in your favor and momentum true sustainable momentum begins to build. Commit to that small act, track the change, and watch how quickly the mind, the body, and even the people around you respond. If you're ready to turn knowledge into practice, hit subscribe so you never miss the next physician-level strategy for lifelong vitality. Tap like if today's science resonated, and share this video with a friend who deserves to feel this good. I'm Dr. Samra, thanking you for your trust and reminding you that powerful medicine can fit comfortably on the tip of a teaspoon. Until next time, stay focused, stay consistent, and stay unstoppable.